goats, people, dogs, cats, cars, rickshaws, motorcycles, and sometimes buses. You know, in one of these streets, I got kind of lost in one of the little alleys. I was wandering around, and I was walking down a very narrow, dark one, and I nearly got jabbed in the side by a bull. I mean, this is the street. And I was walking down it, and all of a sudden, out of one of those dark doors, this bull came charging out full on, and this stranger grabbed me by the neck and pulled me out of the way, giving me just enough time to grab my cell phone and photograph the offending bull. And these bulls and cows, nobody disturbs them. You know, they go wherever they want. They do whatever they want. They are symbols of Shiva. And so there's tremendous reverence. And they are utterly fearless because nobody ever harms them. So they just walk into shops, into anywhere. They just walk into big, busy intersections and lay down. And people just stop, drive around them. It's just, that's how it is. You can just see this huge animal, utterly fearless, standing in the middle of a busy road, not even flinching. Unbelievable. And I wanted to take a photograph of a bull in this very, very busy intersection who had just sat down to rest. And I took the photo, but as you can see, I became distracted because there's no bull in this picture, is there? Because if you look carefully, just to the right of the carriage, there's that white thing. There in the middle of Varanasi was a poodle. I mean, a fully groomed poodle. So I didn't know what to do. Take the photo of the bull or the poodle. I mean, that's India. You know, everything, all of the time, anything, all of the time. So the poodle won. And here's a piece of land right on the opposite side of the river from the ashram has been donated to the ashram, and the guru has a vision for using it. He wants to build an eco-village there that has a dome and sustainable living and recycling. He has a vision of it being run and maintained by children, and he has this vision that the, children from the West will come out and spend time there, and to create as an example for what India might do to address what's going on in their country. And I just love that. Imagine our children going out there both to share their ideas and to experience being there. And he also has this idea of growing all of the plants mentioned in Ayurvedic medicine, because Ayurvedic medicine is falling there, and there are fewer and fewer people that know anything about it. So as a way of holding up the tradition, I just love his vision for doing that. And I took this picture because it's another one of those strange things. You know, there, this beautiful field, and all of a sudden this woman appears in bright orange or some color that just shouts out happiness and into the countryside. And these images were all in me all of the time. And I had taken with me the Tao Te Ching, you know, China's great spiritual work. And as I was traveling through things like this, I was reading it. And one of the things that I read that really stuck with me and I sat with it was this part from the Tao Te Ching that says, the world is sacred and it cannot be improved. And standing in Varanasi, it's very humbling with that phrase running through my head. The world is sacred and it cannot be improved. Because everywhere I looked, I saw the opportunity for improvement. You know what I mean? Everywhere I looked, I saw things that I thought were wrong. And it took me a while to start looking deeper into what could this mean. The world doesn't need improvement and it's sacred. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with the guru in which he said, you know, it is said among our people that the real city of Varanasi exists in another dimension. Underneath the chaos, there is something eternal and endless and still. And once that was running through me, I understood the Tao reading a little more, and I started to see something I hadn't seen before. And in the people first, I saw it. Tremendous happiness, tremendous acceptance, tremendous reverence, tremendous discipline, tremendous humor, tremendous compassion, tremendous community in the midst of chaos. And then I read in the Tao again, the master understands that the universe is forever out of control, and that trying to dominate it goes against the current of the way of things. And I sat with that with great humility too, because I felt myself wanting to lay my idea on India, on the people. Domination. I have an idea. And it doesn't mean don't do anything, but it's more talking to the way a thing is done without force or insistence, I think the clearest illustration I got was when I met an Italian shopkeeper in Varanasi. I met a woman who runs a body piercing and coffee shop in Varanasi. And she was telling us the story of how she rescued a dying baby in one of those passages, lying there dehydrated, inches away from death, and how she resuscitated it and brought it back to life, and how the difficulty she had when she tried to adopt the baby because nobody wanted the baby, but then when she wanted it, it was a problem. And she talked about the challenge of educating young people about body piercing in a country where bacteria is so prevalent. And then she said, in India, you really get to learn that you can only do what is in front of you to do. Or you can go ahead and try to be attached to the outcome if you want to, but it's hopeless. And then I thought, my favorite, the Bhagavad Gita, I remembered the story. It's that same story all over again. As Krishna says to the young prince who's about to go to war, what you get to do is what is in front of you. You get to do your duty with as much honor as you can, bring into it with as much respect and humility that you can bring into it, and you just get to be the best you that you know how to be. You get to be as present as you can drum up at any moment. You get to be as love-centered as you know how to be, and then you trust that. And then let the outcome be whatever it may. It made me think of here at home, how frequently I labor under the idea that things can be controlled. Or how I fret when life doesn't cooperate. Or how frequently I'm dissatisfied when I don't have a certain thing or feeling or experience or something. And how passionate I can become in my prayers when I do want something. In our prayer, if you're visiting, there's a part in our prayer where we have, it's called realization. It's the apex of our prayer where we affirm what it is we're praying about. We affirm things like, I am whole, perfect, and complete. And what I got in India is an additional way of thinking about this moment in prayer, Because sometimes for me it's an attempt to make something happen, to dominate life into the perfection I think it should be. And instead I saw there's a possibility that moment in prayer, affirmation and realization doesn't have to be an attempt to make anything happen. It can be exactly what the name says, a realization of what is, despite my desired outcome. It's like coming awake to what is going on, despite what I think should go on. In the midst of whatever chaos is present, to affirm, or as we say, to know the truth. And, what is the truth? I don't know. It's different things to different people. But, if you hang around in metaphysical communities, in ours, you'll hear people say what the truth is. They'll say...